Update 234 just came out and I will be bringing you my thoughts on it very soon, but first, here's why it took me so long to get a video out to you at all. I've been non-stop practicing the full RNG stealth speedrun of this heist because it's really fun. So fun in fact that Overkill decided to make it into an achievement, just passing through, which from my experience with it is probably the single hardest achievement I can remember ever grinding for in Payday 2. That is no exaggeration, as without a really intimate understanding of the map layout and how this heist plays out, trying to complete it under 7 minutes feels like a Herculean task, especially as we're also not allowed to kill civilians as an additional stipulation. You see, the Hostile Takeover Heist is unique in that you can complete all its objectives in any order you desire, meaning when it comes to trying to nail this one down, like me, you might just end up running into analysis paralysis and racking your brain for hours to come up with a dominant strategy. To be honest, I've actually had a blast working around its RNG and with trial and error, so if you want to experience this unspoiled, please click away now. But for everyone else, this is my guide on how to conquer one of Payday 2's toughest achievements with comparative ease. First things first, this is going to be a solo guide. There's actually a multiplayer version of this achievement, which tries to keep things pure by reducing the allotted time you have to complete it to only 4 minutes, again emphasising that I'm pretty sure the devs wanted to make this one a real challenge. However, due to the nature of multiplayer, this is actually a breeze thanks to ECM jammers, making sub 2 runs actually possible from what I've seen online. So, no taking shortcuts, sub 7 solo or bust as far as I'm concerned. Oh, although I would recommend running it on Overkill, the lowest possible difficulty for completing this achievement, as that will enable you to avoid Titan cameras on what is a camera-heavy heist. Now, before heading into the heist, you're going to want to think your way through pre-planning. I've tried a few combinations, including zip lines and the south escape, when trying to optimize my strategy, but I've settled on using the north escape, south entrance, open door, and then spy cams on the 3rd level of the HQ. Starting at the south escape is really important, as if you're running Yakuza, as I am, for extra movement speed, it's a much safer location to Molotov up and really maximise your deck, which is exactly how I start my run off. From there, you also have almost instant access to the PA system to clear out the laboratory for later in the heist. After that, I run directly up to the headquarters through the west entrance, but only so far as to change the objective, as this will start the timer for Locke to tell you exactly which computer you'll need to hack later on, saving just a little bit of time in the long run. After poking my head in, I then head down into the west entrance of the lab, where if everything's been timed correctly, you will have a really decent chance of immediately running into the lead scientist on his way out. To say this guy is the crux of the entire run would be understating it. You're going to want to find and subdue him as soon as possible. Now, it might feel impossible to complete this achievement if you don't get lucky with RNG and find him here immediately, bearing in mind we're not allowed to actually kill the guy, and there are very few safe spaces on the map where you can cable tie him out of sight. So down this stairwell or around the right side of the map are absolutely the best options, but it simply won't always work out like that, and you don't want to be restarting every attempt without optimal RNG, meaning we need a contingency plan. In fact, my fastest run you're seeing here didn't bump into the lead scientist until much later on. Regardless, if you don't spot him down here, you're still going to want to take the same pathing as we want to check for the camera room. This is one of the 2 locations security can spawn at, and if it does, you're going to want to pop the door open with an ECM jammer, take down the camera operator, and be sure to grab a keycard found inside the room. From there, if you've not already taken care of the lead scientist, lockpick into this side room and hack his personal computer, which will allow you to track his whereabouts at all times. Now, this is the point at which your path will diverge depending on what's happened already. If you didn't find the security room, and so don't have a keycard, simply head back up to the headquarters and join back for the next step. But if you did, head directly across the hallway and open up the other half of the lab. Here's why I run a fully auto primary for this heist, as it lets me destroy these things much faster. Just remember to count for 8 of them, as the objectives won't be updated to track for you. If you did go this way, you can head directly through and quickly activate the walkie-talkie to clear a few guards out of the headquarters, but this is far from a necessity to keep things moving quickly. Now, regardless of your RNG, you're going to want to head directly into the headquarters through the front door, where strangely guards seldom seem to patrol. Break into the back room for the stage curtain keys and sprint immediately over to the Neo 2. The head of marketing will still be standing over it as long as you approach the objectives in this order, meaning you can close the curtains, tie her up and force her to unlock the display case. In about 50 runs, she's been spotted back here once, so I wouldn't worry too much about leaving her right there. With the north escape selected, I like to immediately secure the prototype at this point through the western door again. Easily done, meaning 1 or 2 out of 4 objectives complete at this point. Now you can head back into the headquarters, preferably through the eastern door, to get access to 2 of the potential objective rooms. If you've timed everything well up to this point, the game will already be telling you exactly which room the correct PC is in, but if things have been going slower or you've taken the time to already move the research bags, enough time will have passed such that Lock will direct you to the exact computer you need to hack for an important time save. Regardless, you're going to want to quickly check the nameplates on these 2 office rooms on the 2nd floor, these 2 on the 3rd floor, and then finally the one next to the head office for the head of security. This will be the first of the 3 items you need. Then go fishing for the computer before finally grabbing the recording from Rainley's desk. In the process, you should have happened upon a keycard, either right here or in the boardroom, meaning you can choose to proceed with cameras up if you're desperate to save time. If not, make sure to take out the camera operator in this room and grab the keycard from there if you weren't lucky enough to get the laboratory spawn. That complete, you're onto the home straight. If you didn't do so earlier, head down to the lab through the eastern entrance and destroy the microscopes before handling this heist's final and toughest objective. Now, if you found him early, no worries, you should be good to go, but if the chief science officer eluded you before, now you're going to have to find and deal with him. The annoying thing is that he moves around the map to fix locations at an incredibly nonchalant pace, which we really don't have the time for on a speedrun such as this one. To make matters worse, very few of these locations are actually close to any cover, but this late into the heist, and with cameras down, that might not be the end of the world. As you can see from this run, I simply waited until he was on the move to tie him down right in the open, but just far away from any civs or guards that at the very least I'd have about a minute of time to spare before he was spotted. There's a really fine line you have to draw between failing for being too ballsy and being overly patient and wasting too much time. Put it this way, I'd rather get caught trying to save the run than time out timidly, and I'd guess you only have about 30 seconds worth of time variance to wait around and see, even if you do get brilliant RNG. With the RFID card in hand though, you can head into the lab again to loot it for the research data. I like to keep most civs in this area controlled instead of sneaking around them. I find this part of the heist to be really fiddly, and there is a bit of RNG here that could be the difference between success and failure, which can be frustrating. But eventually, you should unearth the papers, bag them, and carry them over to this specific golf cart, which always spawns over here. After dropping your final ECM, speed your way over to this side of the escape, hop out and start throwing bags into the van from afar, and if you're efficient with it, you can absolutely secure all 4 before the ECM runs out, meaning your escape will be completely covered. If you followed these instructions reasonably closely, haven't been shafted by terrible CSO RNG, or spent too long waiting for civs to move out of your way, you should have cleared this in somewhere around the 7-minute mark. The first time I did so, I actually secured the final loot bag at 6:58, opening up the escape, which I took in 7 minutes and 2 seconds. Funnily enough, this actually unlocked the achievement regardless, which means that the timer actually stops as soon as you stand in the escape, not precisely when the heist ends. I've since pushed that time down to about 6:15, even without favourable RNG, and we'll be trying to go even further in the future. That's just how much fun I have speed stealthing this heist. Outside of that step-by-step walkthrough, I do have a few tips for getting this down without as much hardship as I had to go through. First, I recommend that you get aggressive. Initially, I was trying my usual pacifist style, as usually it helps to ghost through heists when trying to optimise clear time. As such, it might feel like you're wasting time killing guards and answering pages or cable tying civs, but it's absolutely necessary on a heist like this. The amount of time you'll save not having to sneak around, particularly in heavy traffic areas such as the lab, is proportionately far greater than what you spend taking them out. Trust me, you're going to have to spill a little blood on this one. Also, and really this is just for your sanity's sake really, it might not be a bad idea to try and fill up the golf cart for the research objective as soon as possible instead of returning for it at the end. I've mapped it in this way because you won't always find the CSO early, but when you do, it can be worth it to get the toughest objective done immediately. Not only for time-saving reasons, but also because this is likely where you'll be making the most mistakes, so I'd always rather get a doomed run out of the way early instead of failing on the most demanding section after wasting 6 minutes clearing everything else out cleanly. Other than that though, enjoy! This is a really coherently crafted heist, and I imagine whoever it was at Overkill that designed this achievement knew exactly what they were doing with it. I've had an incredible time being thwarted over and over to record this video for you, so get out there and secure one of the hardest achievements for yourselves. Oh, and whilst you're at it, be sure to head down to the description and check out the Payday themed Apex Gaming PCs we sell over there for anyone looking for a pre-built machine to upgrade their old rig. Thank you so much for watching this video. As I mentioned earlier, I will be covering this update in full very shortly. I just wanted to make sure more people were out there enjoying the art of speedrunning at its absolute best on this heist. See you all very soon. A huge thank you to my dedicated Patreon backers. If you want to join this crew in going infamous, check out the link below and pledge as little as $2 to see your name in the credits, or get 24-hour early access to future videos and vote on upcoming content. Take care, I'll see you all soon.